afternoon. Welcome to the Midday News on 3FM 92.7, coming to you from our studios here at Adesawe in Kandakra. My name is Grace Hammoah Agyemang. Coming up this afternoon, Association of Private Schools drag government to the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice over the 30% priority placement policy, which reserved Category A schools to public students. We have details as a call for the immediate abolition of the policy. Also this afternoon, over 40 hectares of reafforested land under the Ghana Landscape Restoration and Small-Scale Mining Project in Ashanti region is under threat of illegal mining activities. Meanwhile, convener of Media Coalition Against Illegal Mining, Dr. Kenneth Ashigbe, criticizes Parliament for failing to consider Environmental Protection Bill, which seeks to repeal LI 2462.
You see what they've been doing? After the two of them put together, passed that obnoxious LI 2462, they came and they were not juggling on where they are going to sit. That's their interest. So it is important that all of you sitting here realize the fact that they don't care about us. They do not care about you.
Also in the bulletin, we find out about the state of infrastructure within your locality. Later in business, financial expert wants a lawyer's bid to hold government from Treasury bill auctions could cripple economy. Details of these and more in the next 30 minutes. Stay with us. Many thanks for joining us. Let's get the details now. The convener of the Let's get the details now. And this afternoon, the Association of Private Schools say they have had enough of unfair treatment by government over the 30% priority placement system, which gives public school students undue advantage over their private school colleagues. The association has initiated a legal process after successfully petitioning the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, demanding a more inclusive senior high school placement system. Christian Yale, my colleague, reports that the association has also lamented harsh treatment by the West African Examination Council in the fallout of the 2024 BC results release. He's joining us for a conversation now on this. Christian, this is not the first time this issue has come up. What prompted this legal action?
Great. And we know that it was in 2017 that the then Education Minister, Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, announced that 30% of placement in elite senior high schools will be reserved solely for students from the public schools and deprived communities under the free SHS program. Now, the justification then was that most of the students admitted to the 80% elite schools out of more than 600 senior high schools were from private schools and well-to-do homes. And so the minister was more or less of the opinion that such privileged students had been denying brilliant but poor pupils from public schools and deprived areas the opportunity to also benefit from the teaching and learning that took place in those facilities. And so that prompted this policy of the 30% priority placement system that over the years the Association of Private Schools have been fighting against. And they make the claim and make it strongly that when you look at this, the priority that has been placed on public school students for highly sought-after schools, regardless of their academic performance compared to their private school colleagues, is in a way affecting the enrollment of private school students into senior high schools. Now, this practice, in their view, compromises fairness and undermines the quality of equity and meritocracy that Ghana's educational system should uphold. And so in their petition to SHRAJ, among other things, they are making the claim that the current system creates an uneven playing field for private school students, affecting their academic and future career opportunities. Also, they make the claim that it undermines academic merit as a key factor in school placement, compromising the quality and competitiveness of education. And it also discriminates based on school type, potentially violating students' rights to equal treatment under the Constitution of Ghana. Grace.
Well, critical concerns raised there, but Christian, tell me, do they provide any form of data to back these issues?
Exactly. And so roughly, we are talking about over 22,000 private schools that are affected, according to them, by this policy. And so you look at about 70% of these schools that have already been classified as low-cost schools, and the situation is dire for private schools that are in rural and, underserved areas across the country. And so this is what they really talk about. And so they are asking Shraj, among all of these things, to probe whether the system violates the constitutional rights of all students under the Constitution. And also, they ask Shraj to demand immediate abolition of the system from the Ministry of Education and then the Ghana Education Service, and issue a directive to these two institutions to adopt policies that guarantee equal access to both public and private schools, and adopt admission policy that comes with merit and academic excellence. And they are, among all, asking Shraj to act swiftly to ensure that these demands are met immediately.
Question, so have they officially submitted a petition? Who received it as Shraj?
Exactly. The petition has been submitted already. That was done on 8th November, just some few days ago, and it has been successfully received by Shraj. Among this, they have already triggered a legal option to ensure that beyond Shraj, and some of these things have to go through the process, and so they cannot just jump to the court, for instance, to demand some of these claims they are making, but they have to go through the channel per what the Constitution stipulates. And so they triggered this with a petition to Shraj and have already, through their lawyers, sought that other legal option through the court as well, which is one thing that they are equally pursuing. Great.
All right, Christian, thank you for that succinct report. We'll definitely come back to you for more on this. My colleague Christian Yali updating us on that petition by the Ghana Private Schools Association. Christian, thank you for talking to us. Let's talk about the environment, because this afternoon, over 440 hectares of free afforested land under the Ghana Landscape Restoration and Small-Scale Mining Project at Unswayam No. 2 in the Bosome-Freho district of Ashanti region is under threats of illegal mining activities. Thousands of the trees and food crops planted by the Environmental Protection Agency and Ministry of Food and Agriculture are continuously being destroyed by the illegal miners despite warning. My colleague Ibrahim Abubakar is joining us for more on this unfortunate development. Ibrahim, paint a picture for us. How widespread is the destruction and what's its impacts on lives and livelihoods?
Okay, great. So out of the 40 hectare of land, at least 5 has been destroyed completely, and this activity started not long ago. This is just within a week, and most of the 25,000 trees planted since August 2023 have been destroyed. This project itself is a World Bank-funded intervention that is meant to restore the vegetation along river and water bodies, with the aim of protecting the natural resources. Because we do know that in Ghana, most of the vegetation hasn't continued to be defaced owing to activities of illegal miners and also loggers. Now, while this endangers food security and contributes hugely to climate change, livelihoods of many farmers are also being ruined. So this project, together with EPA and MOFA, was being executed so that they will plant riparian trees and restore water sources from even shrinking. Now, these plants are being pulled down, and it means that it will expose the water bodies and also even further destroy it. As we speak, some of the water bodies within that area have even been polluted, and this is something that is of major concern to the Environmental Protection Agency and also Ministry of Food and Agriculture, who are executing this project. They are involving farmers so that while they are planting trees, farmers will also be planting crops and also use it to sustain themselves and also help the country in achieving food security. But currently, a destruction is going on, and complaints have been made, but the illegal miners are still on site. Now, the understanding I'm having is that the officials of the Environmental Protection Agency and also Minerals Commission within the Konongo area have visited the site and are currently preparing their reports to their respective head offices so that that intervention will also come and make sure that they stop this illegal activity and also protect the environment.
Ibrahim, this obviously is a worrying situation there. Apart from the EPA and the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, has this come to the attention of the local authorities, and what has been their response?
Well, the local authorities have been tight-lipped on the matter. In recent time, anytime you go to any of the district or municipal assemblies and you are even talking about illegal mining activity, they wouldn't give you any proper response. They say they will also commence an investigation into this and make sure that they stop these illegal miners from conducting their illegal activity. And so that is the assurance they've given us, but we will also be monitoring to ensure that whatever assurance they've given us, they will follow by it and protect the environment.
Definitely, Ibrahim. We'll also monitor and see what comes out of the initiatives they are going to introduce. Thank you for talking to us, my colleague in the Ashanti region, Ibrahim Abubakar there. Meanwhile, the convener of the Ghana Coalition Against Illegal Mining, Dr. Kenneth Achigbe, has criticized Parliament for failing to consider the Environmental Protection Bill, which seeks to repeal LI 2462, a regulation that permits mining in Ghana's forest reserves. Speaking at an event organized by the Achimota Old Students Association, Dr. Achigbe condemned Parliament's leadership for prioritizing debates over certain positions and the designation of majority leadership rather than focusing on critical national issues.
One of the things that was promised was the fact that when Parliament returned on the 15th of October, we're going to have the repeal of that obnoxious law. The law that saw the NDC and the NPP sit in Parliament and decided that they will give the President the power to allow people to go mine in forest reserves, including areas of critical biodiversity areas. And again, look at what the media did. Who were giving those licenses to go into those places? You see what they've been doing? After the two of them put together, passed that obnoxious LI 2462, they came and they were not juggling on where they are going to sit. That's their interest. Akunta Mine, when they were found in a report, that indicates that they were engaged in an illegality. Akunta Mining is not a small-scale mining company. Heritage Imperial were giving a prospecting license. They were also in the Aprapama Forest Reserve with about 36 excavators. As any engineer, you know that nobody prospecting will need 36 excavators. So it is important that all of you sitting here realize the fact that they don't care about us. They do not care about you. And it has nothing to do with poverty alleviation. It has all to do with greed. Are you going to tell me that somebody who's getting 700 million, it's poverty? So the challenge we're dealing with is not something that you sit and think that it's somebody else's problem. It is your problem. The level of spontaneous abortions that are happening in some of these communities, grave.
Convener of the Media Coalition Against Illegal Mining, Dr. Kenneth Achigbe, there. Let's do other stories this afternoon and talk about health, because we are learning the La General Hospital project site remains deserted weeks after work was halted. The Ministry of Health had explained in a statement that the contractor was awaiting payment for a certificate presented denying that work had halted. Information gathered by 3FM indicates that President Akufo-Addo will be visiting the site on Tuesday, November 19. However, our checks at the site this afternoon show nothing is ongoing. My colleague Sarah Penkro has been following up on this story since, and let's get updates from what she's gathered today. Sarah, you have been to the site. What is it looking like today?
Yes, rightly said. I'm currently at the site, and so there is no work ongoing. The gate is locked, so we are not getting access to the premises. But from across the wall, we could see that there are no workers on site, just like we reported some weeks back. I've been trying to find out from some of the residents what is really happening, and surprisingly, they are tight-lipped. They are not willing to open up to tell us what exactly is happening. here. So basically, there is no work ongoing at the site. We understand the president will be coming around next week, Tuesday, as to whether to commission the place or to announce further payments to the contractor for work to resume. We are yet to find out. I've also tried to find out from the ministry what is happening with the payment to the contractor to come back to the site. I haven't been able to get any concrete feedback from the ministry. So as it stands, work is still not ongoing here at the La General Hospital project site.
And Sarah, you spoke to some residents. What have they been telling you?
They haven't been forthright with information. It appears they are afraid to speak to me now because they said they have been talking all the time and it looked like attention is on them. Anytime some people come around, they come to threaten them, so they are not willing to give me information.
All right, sis, then you should also take care of yourself while you're trying to get us all the information that we need. My colleague, Sarah Apenko, updating us on work or progress on the La General Hospital. This is the Midday News on 3FM 92.7. We're also live streaming on our Facebook page at 3 News on 3FM 92.7. Let us go to Circle because this afternoon, some squatters there along the Odona River are currently counting their loss following a fire outbreak earlier this morning. The blaze, which erupted in the early hours, has left many homeless and devastated. An eyewitness says the swift intervention by the Ghana National Fire Service, whose prompt response prevented the flames from reaching a nearby warehouse and over 200 other structures. Our reporter Freddy Kunzo Tiani is currently at the location and joins us live. Fred, what is the cause of the fire outbreak, if the fire service have been able to identify it immediately?
Right, great. So squatters here tells me that in the early hours they woke up to see fire blazing and destroying their properties. Although no life was lost, but millions of properties have been destroyed and other valuable items. Squatters tells me that it was as a result of a faulty electric that led to the fire outbreak. And fortunately, the fire service or the Ghana National Fire Service were able to come in on time. But as at the time they came, they could only prevent another warehouse and other nearby buildings from being destroyed by the fire. But when they came, a lot of properties have already been destroyed. Squatters tells me that they want government to come in and support them, either to relocate them or to settle them or to compensate them, And they also tell me that they might not be able to vote in the upcoming election because their voter ID and other valuable IDs have been destroyed by the fire. They're currently still counting their loss. As I talk to you right now, the fire is still gathering despite the fire service initially coming to dash it off, but it's still gathering. And it tells me I can see some squatters using sun and water to try and turn off the fire here at near the Odo River. Grace.
All right, Frederick, so has there been any intervention by any relevant stakeholders so far?
Right, so they told me that there are some stakeholders, government stakeholders have come here to interact with them, but no intervention or they don't know the way forward after this. Someone tells me that they might not be able to sleep tonight because they don't have a place to sleep, and they are hoping that government swift intervention will help them in relocating to a proper and secure place, or will give them some assurance or some compensation to find their own location to settle, Grace.
All right, Fred, thank you for that update. Freddy Kunzo Tiani, our man there, bringing us up to speed on that Circle Odona fire. Let's take you up north and take you to our series on the state of infrastructure in the country, because we're going to Lompe in the Nanumba North municipality of the Northern region, where more than 300 school children of the Lompe primary school have dropped out of school due to poor state of school infrastructure. putting the future of these children in jeopardy, though these ones have the desire to be in school in order to pursue their dreams of becoming useful to the society. The poor state of infrastructure in the community continues to hinder the realization of this dream. My colleague Christopher Mako joins us on the phone with more. Chris, paint for us a picture on how worrying the situation is and how it affects academic activities.
Yes, so Grace, the Lompe Primary School is the only school in the Lompe enclave, and there are some communities that make up that enclave. Unfortunately, that school over the years has been in a dilapidated state. First of all, the school was even constructed by the community, and for now, there hasn't been any intervention from the Nanumba North Assembly, and so the children, most of them, have stopped going to school as a result of the poor state of the school infrastructure. You go there, there is no single furniture provided by the assembly. There is also, they only have 2 teachers who manage from primary 1 to primary 6, and so it's become a worrying situation, not only for the pupils, but also for community members.
Let's listen to some of the teachers you spoke with.
In fact, it has been so very difficult to understand that even we don't have even a single chair for children to sit down. You as a teacher will be standing teaching, while some of the students are squatting while writing. So it has been a very difficult task for us in this particular school. And as I speak, more than 300 children have been dropped from school. Simple reason because of lack of infrastructure and some of these teaching and learning materials. So it has been so difficult for us in this particular school. So if government comes in our aid by providing this school infrastructure, I believe these children will come back to school to continue their education.
Christopher, we have heard it from a teacher, and obviously it is a worrying situation there. How have community members been reacting also to this?
Yes, community members are equally not happy because they believe that their children are also entitled to go to school, and the provision of education infrastructure must be provided for the community members so that their children can also have the benefit of going to school. As it stands now, they have to commute crossing some rivers to the Salaga and Sabonjida areas before they can access education infrastructure in some communities. And so those who are unable to go end up dropping out from school. Some of the community members have also been sharing their frustrations.
Well, we'll bring that frustration of the community members subsequently, but have you been able to engage any of the authorities on this? What have they been telling you, if you've been able to do that?
Yes, so the Nanumba North Municipal Assembly, when I got there, I was referred to the Education Directorate, but I have not been able to engage any of them because they tell me that apart from the director, no other official will be providing me with any information.
All right, Christopher, keep following on it. We'll definitely come back to you for more on this. Christopher Mako is my colleague there. Well, let's move away from the north and go to Takrade, because commuters on the Takrade-Aguna-Nkwanta Road in the Western region will soon heave a sigh of relief as rehabilitation work on the stretch is about 35% complete. It will be recalled the poor state of the stretch, which is part of the N1, resulted in a blockade at Eusijo in 2023, disrupting international traffic and leaving many stranded for days. Irama Smith joins us and some engineers from the Ghana Highway Authority and contractors to assess progress of work and now has the report. Irama, talk to us about the economic importance of this road and the progress of work so far.
Right, so this is part of the N1, which starts from Benin, passes through Accra, Cape Coast, through Takrade to La Côte d'Ivoire. So you can imagine the economic importance. Here within the Western region, this is a very crucial route because natural resource from the forest areas, I'm talking about from the upper areas, the Western North, Takwa mines and all those areas pass through here before they get to the Takrade Harbour. That's if they are unable to use the rail line. So this is a very, very crucial route here. Now, you would recall that last year, around October, there was a blockade on the Wusejo part of the road because of the poor nature of the road. It was given on contract to Just More Construction. They have 3 years to complete the construction, and they are 35% complete. This morning, the Takoradi area manager for the Ghana Highway Authority, as well as the regional engineer, took some media persons on a tour of the facility, and he tells us that because of the use of this particular stretch, they have had to ensure that they design a road that is specifically suitable because of the weight of goods that usually pass on it.
We have a dual section. The dual section is from the Pramdu to Agran Kwanta. That section, we are adding an additional lane to it, including the two bridges that we are working on, Pramdu and the Wusejo. Contractor is supposed to work on that is construct a new bridge for the dual section. When we finish, supposed to demolish the existing steel bridge and then replace it with a new concrete again. 3.8 kilometers, existing one, dual section. The dual section, the rehabilitation section. That's from Takoradi. You see, already we have a dual section from that end. So that this time, this is
Well, Rama Smith reports on that road, Aguna Kwanta Road. Before we go, let us take you round where the various political parties are, what they are promising Ghanaians even as the election draws closer. This time, flag bearer of the NPP, Dr. Hammoah Agyemang, has renewed his willingness to release 30 billion cedis to support the growth of private sector in the country. He says this will help transform Ghana's economy and spearhead growth in the country. He was addressing stakeholders at Midday in the Agyemang constituency in the Ashanti region. Meanwhile, the flag bearer also says before the end of this year, Ghana will begin implementation of e-gate system at the Kotoka International Airport. Dr. Hammoah says the Ghana card will be used to operationalize the e-gate system. Let's listen to him.
Fulani for Moa, Matisse, propaganda BC air cosuse, Mebedio Mampenia, Mema, Fulani for Abese, Mufum, Vigina intro, Ambassador.
We apologize. We'll bring you the right audio subsequently. But let's move away from the quarters of the NPP and go to NDC, where its flag bearer, John Mahama, has justified his assertion to institute the Cocoa Roads program to improve road accessibility across the country. John Mahama says the most sustainable way of construction roads in the forest and cocoa growing areas was the initiative program he started. He was speaking in the Bodi constituency.
Akwa no ye ne hye samre no ye hwe no na koko ye teko ne akoji dollars aba enso bebia ye dua koko do na akwa ni nyina asai enti ne ye adwen se ye be ye Cocoa Roads program enti emre bia ye di koko no be ko bia ye beti sika ni bi so ne ye dia be siesie mo akwan eno na ne ye ya fofianto ata ye si free akonya no so ena ye nuanom beje ye on beje omotwani nyina eja ena kwan na say yenkoti a omo say omo nko ombetena so omo aye kwan 12,000 kilometers of roads na meka say mo aye 12,000 kilometers of road e wo Ghana ha enfe wotwe a ene mo di body for abro papa e be say omo kwan ni bi wan ene ye ba e kwan na say na omo enfe wotwe moja kwan no afia ye beto aba no my intend the contractor e dey fidia beto so.
NDC presidential candidate John Dramani Mahama speaking on the Cocoa Roads initiative and why a new NDC government will bring back that initiative. But that's it for our package for this afternoon's bulletin on 3FM 92.7. My name is Hammoah Agyemang. Thank you for joining us. You can log on to 3news.com and get some more stories. Enjoy the rest of our programs. Good afternoon.
FM 92.7. Urban Lifestyle Radio Station.
Hello there, good afternoon. Welcome to Business Daily here on 3FM 92.7. Coming up, finance expert warns a lawyer's bid to halt government from treasury bill auctions could cripple the economy.
And if an injunction is granted, then it could have pretty devastating effect on the finances of the government. We pray it doesn't get to that point.
Plus, Deputy Minister of Energy Herbert Kwapa calls for increased investment in the hydrocarbon sector despite global demand for green energy, highlighting its significant role in Africa's development.
You can't imagine that we follow sheepishly any conversation about jettisoning hydrocarbon production.
These stories and more coming up shortly. My name is Michael Ogbodu. Kindly stay tuned. Private legal practitioner Jonathan Amabil has initiated legal proceedings against the Ghanaian government seeking an injunction to prevent the issuance of treasury bills.
In a motion filed at the Supreme Court on November 11, 2024, Jonathan Amabil contends that the government requires parliamentary approval before issuing the short-term debt instrument. The motion specifically targets the Finance Ministry and the Bank of Ghana, urging the courts to restrain them from engaging in any borrowing or debt financing activities until the matter is resolved. Amabil's argument rests on the premise that government borrowing practices must adhere to specific constitutional guidelines, including parliamentary oversight. The legal challenge has the potential to significantly impact government's financial strategies and its ability to manage public debt. Treasury bills are a crucial tool for government's finance short-term spending needs and maintain liquidity. However, critics argue that excessive reliance on such instruments can contribute to increased debt burdens and economic instability.
And that was a 3 Business News Desk report. Meanwhile, finance expert Joe Jackson has raised concerns over the injunction. He warns that such an injunction could have severe consequences for the Ghanaian economy.
It's an interesting application to stop the government from issuing treasury bills. I'm not a lawyer, but I doubt whether it will go very far. And I suspect that it is only because of the current impasse in Parliament where this has become an issue. In any case, it may stop the government from borrowing or going to the market on Friday if the injunction is granted. But the thing about this is that if Parliament resumes soon, even if the injunction is granted, it will be fairly easily resolved. If it's not and the impasse continues, and if an injunction is granted, then it could have pretty devastating effect on the finances of the government. We pray it doesn't get to that point. We pray that cool heads prevail, Parliament gets back, and this injunction doesn't becomes moot.
Joe Jackson is a finance expert. Now, Ghana is set to host the prestigious Africa Oil Week conference, a week event in the global energy sector from September 15 to 18, 2025. The Africa Oil Week conference is expected to attract industry leaders, investors, and experts, providing a platform for discussions on Africa's energy future. At a press conference at Kempinski Hotel in Accra, Chief Executive of Sankofa Events and Africa Oil Week, Paul Sinclair, expressed optimism about the conference's success and encouraged Ghanaians to seize the opportunities presented by the program.
Africa Oil Week is designed to show off the very best of all of the oil and gas, upstream and energy assets to the international community. A bridge that really takes international finance, international operators, international integrated energy companies into the fold to understand the best projects that are in and around Africa. The idea of Africa Oil Week is to advocate the development of energy for the continent, to ensure that we're bringing energy security to the African region. And we believe Ghana, as a risk-adjusted business hub, economic hub of the continent, has the capacity from an infrastructure perspective and from an ease of doing business perspective to continue these conversations. And I have no doubt, with the support of the presidency, the Ministry of Energy, Ghana Tourism Authority, Petroleum Commission, GMPC, TOR, and all of the agencies within the Ghanaian government, who will make this a resounding success for Ghana, West Africa, and the border region as a whole.
Paul Sinclair is the Chief Executive of Sankofa Events and Africa Oil Week. Meanwhile, Minister of State at the Energy Ministry, Herbert Krapah, has emphasized that Ghana and other African countries will continue investing in the oil and gas sector to drive continental development. Speaking at the media launch of the Africa Oil Week, he highlighted that hydrocarbons play a vital role in Africa's growth, and leaders are reluctant to abandon exploration despite global concerns. However, the minister stressed that the continent will explore more sustainable ways to promote green energy options.
You can't imagine today our economies without gas. If you think about gas to power projects on the African continent, if you think about crude oil production and its impact on our economies, you can't imagine that we follow sheepishly any conversation about jettisoning hydrocarbon production and following the bandwagon chorus just for the sake of it. And that's why the ministers on the continent have moved to set up the Africa Energy Bank. And with that, we're able to consolidate investment into hydrocarbon production. As a continent, our hydrocarbon resources, we will continue to utilize them. We will continue to explore and produce, and we'll continue to invest in that sector.
So that was Deputy Minister of Energy Herbert Krapah speaking there. Now, players in the creative and vocational space are urging the government to create an enabling environment to foster growth, job creation, and increased exports. The INP Education for Employment program themed Bridging the Gap of Inequalities in Access to Training, fashion educationist Richard Ohinisika expressed concerns about the high taxes and import duties on equipment used in the sector, which hinders growth and necessitates reconsideration.
We felt that it was those who didn't do well who ended up in the arts. But currently, with the engagement, if you look at the political system, both the current government and the opposition government these days are now meeting the creatives to speak and have a dialogue with them. I think that we still need much more enabling government environment. The other political people have spoken about this. If they come to power, there's going to be tax holidays and other things. I think that they should just, you are journalists, the other people among you are technical men who use cameras and other things. It's so expensive getting these equipment to do these productions. And so all we need is enabling environment. Once these systems are in place, we will be able to practice the art easily, and then it is also not difficult to pay tax because the system is easy and friendly to.
So here the fashion educationist and president of Race College of Design, bringing an end to Business Daily here on 3FM 92.7. For more business stories, please check out our website. It's 3news.com/business. I am Michael Ogbodu. Thank you for listening. As always, please stay safe. Up next is Urban Blend with Black Kobe. Stay tuned.